The house is being demolished, and my husband absolutely refuses. He says his mother is buried there, and he would rather die than move, seeing the compensation for the demolition increase from 10 million to nearly 20 million. I'm afraid that if we keep arguing, the demolition office will give up on us. So I quickly persuaded him, also threatening with divorce. My husband finally wavered and signed the documents. The demolition compensation just arrived, and he filed for divorce. Later, he lost all the money he gambled away, but blamed me for ruining his family's feng shui, driving the car to a tragic end with me. Living another life, I watched my husband kneeling at the grave and pretending to cry, and chose to respect his decision. My mom is buried there, absolutely cannot be moved. You're forcing my mom to be restless even in death. Evanhua stood in front of his mother's grave, glaring fiercely at the demolition office measuring in front of him. The people from the demolition office couldn't help but rub their foreheads in frustration and looked at me to persuade. Old Hua family, you better persuade your man quickly. We can't wait for a demolition for hundreds of years. Grab this fleeting wealth quickly. Just stop causing trouble. And we've already given 18 million in compensation. That's quite a lot. Why not spend some money to have someone perform a ritual for his mother and find a good feng shui spot? Wouldn't it be better than just burying her here? If we keep causing trouble, it won't look good. We can't be too greedy. Everything in front of me feels incredibly familiar. In the previous life, Evanhua would never agree to move his mother's grave. He said that his mother had worked hard all her life and had never enjoyed happiness. Finally, she was laid to rest. If the grave is disturbed, his mother might suffer in the next life. But the relocation office is right. Such wealth and prosperity, once missed, will be gone forever. If we are misunderstood by the relocation office and are too greedy, and then decide to give up this land, it will truly be a case of crying over spilled milk. Evanhua looked at me with a face full of apology to our ancestors. Wife, I can't let my mother down. I can't let down the ancestors of the Hua family. In my previous life, I noticed the demolition office's strange expression and quickly stopped Evanhua from causing trouble. And threatened him, if you keep causing trouble like this, then we'll get a divorce. My relationship with Evanhua has always been good. When those words came out, Evanhua chickened out and signed the papers on the spot. At that time, I was still proud of myself, thinking I was good at managing my husband. Just as the demolition compensation was credited, I received a court summons for Evanhua to divorce. Hu Lin, I always thought you would never betray me. I didn't expect that for a little demolition compensation, you would actually collude with them. Since that's the case, don't expect to get a single penny. I will never forgive you in my life. Before the demolition, Evanhua owed some money. Thinking that the demolition compensation of nearly 20 million yuan would be soon received, I helped him cover over 200,000 yuan. Unexpectedly, he turned his back and refused to acknowledge the debt. After I was driven out, I was left with nothing. My house was also taken over by my parents. It was hard to start over, but Evanhua found me again. At this moment, he was unshaven and exhausted, like a bandit pushed to a dead end. His eyes were bloodshot, and he said fiercely, "It's all your fault. My mom said it was a treasure land back then, and we couldn't touch it. Now look, I've lost all my money. It's all your fault. You go to hell." He was driving a nearly scrapped vehicle, and we met our end together. The ringing in my ears caused by the explosion lasted until I was reborn. Hearing familiar words, I suddenly regained consciousness. Evanhua looked at me, tears still shining in his eyes. "You're really good at pretending." I sarcastically curl my lips. The moment he proposed divorce in his past life, I understood everything. The reluctance to be disturbed after mother's death, the inability to offend ancestors, are all just acts. If he were truly a filial son, his mother wouldn't have died alone and lonely in bed from illness. If he were truly a filial son, he could completely use the money from the demolition to find a good feng shui place for his mother. In a previous life, I advised him to stay in the city and help his mother and other ancestors choose a good burial site, so it would be convenient for us to visit the graves later. Evanhua refused, saying that his family has been in the village for generations and cannot lose their roots. In the end, he spent a few thousand yuan to bury the person in the vegetable garden. not even bothering to put up a tombstone, so you couldn't tell who was who. Evanhua said, all the people in this vegetable garden are my family, who to burn for doesn't matter. At that time, I thought he wanted the ancestors not to leave their homeland. Now, seeing him pretending to care for his mother, I only find it ridiculous. Isn't it just wanting to ask for more money? You can pretend. Then I'll accompany you to pretend all the way. I sighed and said to the demolition office people, I really can't do anything about it. Evan is a filial son. He wouldn't bear to do this. Please give up. Hua family's daughter-in-law, you can't do this. Filial piety can't be used as food. If her mother knew in the afterlife, she would definitely agree. I wiped away the tears at the corner of my eye and pretended to help my husband who was lying on the ground. You don't need to persuade us anymore. We won't agree. Even if you give 50 million, we won't waver. This is not about money at all. Evanhua looked at me curiously several times, wanting to say something, but he held back. The demolition office saw that there was no result today and sighed as they left. As soon as one person left, Evanhua quickly said, Why aren't you trying to persuade me today? I took a deep breath, stared into his eyes until he awkwardly looked away, then slowly spoke. Aren't I on your side? Your mother has suffered too much, and she can't be treated like this. Even if we don't want this money, we can't let them disturb her grave. Evanhua was stunned for a moment, opening and closing his mouth for a long time, not knowing what to say. Finally, I let out a sigh and went home. Only after he left did I realize my back was already soaked with sweat. I no longer envy his money in this life. I just want to divorce quickly and stay away from this scoundrel. Evanhua left in a hurry, not knowing what he was anxious to do at home. I am walking slowly behind, thinking about how to get a divorce. Unconsciously, I have arrived at a small pond. I pick up a stone from the ground and throw it into the water one by one. Suddenly, a sound of footsteps comes from afar. I don't know how it happened either. I instinctively hid behind the grass by the river. A group of people sighed and walked to the riverbank, and one person seemed to be on a phone call. The shouting on the other end of the phone was deafening, blaming them for poor performance. The last thing said was, since that's the case, then go around that piece of land, forget it. I still don't believe that we can't proceed without their project. After hanging up the phone, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Someone even said happily, let the person with the surname Hua take the lead now, it's about time. I hid behind the bushes, not daring to make a sound, but my heart was incredibly excited. Evanhua, in your past life, you blamed me for destroying your home's feng shui. Now, it seems your poor feng shui will be with you for a lifetime. I happily walked to the door. Evanhua was on the phone with someone, speaking in a very low voice. I know, when the price reaches 20 million, I will agree, don't worry. Right now they are more anxious than us. Once the money arrives, I will find a way to divorce her. This relocation fund has nothing to do with her. She won't get a single cent. I love you too. I quickly retract my foot and press tightly against the wall, afraid of being discovered by him. So, he had betrayed me long ago. The last time I threatened him with a divorce, he probably mocked me countless times in his heart for being a fool. After he hung up the phone and a while later, I slowly walked in. When he saw me, a hint of panic flashed across his face. Why are you only just now back? I'm thinking of a way to make those people give up. Upon hearing this, Evanhua's face turned pale and flustered. You don't need to worry about it. I have a plan. I smiled, walked over to him, and took his arm, saying, Husband, my house can now be converted into a housing fund loan, but your credit report isn't good right now, so it definitely won't be approved. After saying that, I let out a sigh. Evanhua wasn't in the mood to care about my affairs. He was completely distracted. It seems that only delivering some heavy news will catch his interest. I cleared my throat and sighed with difficulty. Now, to get this approved, we can only divorce. You and I are not husband and wife. So it can be approved. Divorce. Evanhua didn't even realize how surprised his tone was. He got too excited and quickly frowned. Why does it have to be divorce? What if you run away after the divorce? Where would I find such a good wife then? I disgustingly pushed away his embrace, with a playful smile on my face. Oh, it's fake. If we can get the loan approved, we could save hundreds of yuan a month. Let's go get the divorce tomorrow. The sooner the better to save money. Evan Hua's reason for causing trouble: I definitely don't want to, but saving several thousand yuan a year, this money, instead of giving it to the bank, might as well be used to buy skincare products for the baby. Anyway, this family listens to you. If you want to leave, just leave. When Evan Hua said this, he couldn't help but smile. The next morning, before the Civil Affairs Bureau opened, I took Evan Hua out. He seems to be especially excited today. He, who likes to stay in bed and has morning temper, just let out a sound and jumped out of bed. Because both of them had their own schemes, the divorce agreement clearly divided their assets. The debt owed by Evan Hua has nothing to do with me, and there will be no disputes involving Ren Hua in the future. As for the money I lent him to pay off his debt, I will definitely find a way to get it back. Once everything is settled, I will only wait to get the divorce certificate in a month. To catch Evan Hua's handle, I used the excuse of a business trip arranged by the company and didn't go home. I thought Evan Hua would endure for a few days. I didn't expect that just after he parted from me, he called the person back into the house. Unfortunately, the house is mine. I had installed the surveillance cameras early in the house. Seeing the two people just close the door, they eagerly embraced and bit each other. I only felt a wave of nausea in my stomach. It wasn't until I saw that woman's face clearly that I suddenly realized that woman turned out to be my cousin. I was born into a vampire family. Ever since I started earning money, my family has been trying every possible way to get money from me. In the past life, we kept the matter of demolition a secret. I didn't expect that a university classmate of my cousin's, who is from the same village as Evan Hua, would mention this during a class reunion and brag about it. She immediately found us and asked me to transfer money to her, or she would tell my family about this. I gave her quite a few harsh words. I said that if this matter was leaked out, I would cause trouble at her company and make it impossible for her to continue working anywhere. I thought at the time that she was afraid, so she helped me keep it a secret. Unexpectedly, she understood and chose to pick the fruit directly. My cousin kept talking to him, asking Evan Hua to buy gold for him, and then asking him to buy a house for her, all of which Evan Hua agreed to. Watching the two of them so close and affectionate, I suddenly had an idea. I have a way to get back the money Evan Hua scammed from me. Worried that the divorce wouldn't go through, I haven't caused any trouble this past month, just quietly staying put, and occasionally even calling him. Evan Hua is floating on cloud 9, feeling my concern and care on one side, and my cousin's advances on the other. You could say this is the happiest day of his life. I've also been watching the villagers regarding the demolition in the village. The demolition office came a few more times and measured the area several times. This caused Evan Hua's confidence to rise again. He believes that this piece of land is definitely very important to the developer. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep sending people over to measure the dimensions again and again. I heard that he is preparing to ask for a price of 25 million. However, the demolition office has not arranged for anyone to come and discuss the matter. Watching the cooling-off period approaching, I took a glance at the surveillance camera, confirmed that my cousin was with him, and then led the property staff into the room. The two of them were openly affectionate on the sofa, and when they saw me come in, they instinctively wanted to hide. I went crazy, grabbed a stool, and smashed it towards the two of them. Evan Hua, do you think I deserve this? I wasn't home, and you did this kind of thing. That's my cousin. Are you trying to kill me? I grabbed something at random and beat them to death, not sparing either of them. Both of them howled in pain. Finally, my cousin couldn't take it anymore and pushed me away. You're crazy. Your husband just likes me. If you know what's good for you, you'd better step aside. I cried until my eyes turned red, glaring at Evan Hua. Evan Hua, I want to divorce you, you scumbag. As I spoke, I picked up a stool and threw it at him. Blood immediately started to flow from his head, and his temper also flared up. Go ahead, let's get divorced. I've already had enough of you. I'll soon have money, and women like you are a dime a dozen. Let's go now. The cooling-off period is over. As he said this, Evan Hua burst out laughing. Let's go now. He suddenly stepped forward, grabbed my hand, and dragged me outside. The property staff hurried over to stop the fight. What are you arguing about at this time? Didn't you say your husband's family is about to be relocated? At this point, you can't even think about divorcing him. even if it means risking your life." I was stunned for several seconds, as if I had just realized something, and I started struggling wildly. "Yes, I can't divorce him. I will drag you down with me. You want to kick me out and take the money to live a good life? No way. I will never divorce you, even if I die. As long as I don't divorce you, you can't be together. My husband's money will always be my money." After speaking, I looked at my cousin with a face full of mockery. "Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. You just want me to get divorced. Rest assured, with this rich husband, I will never let you have him cheaply." After speaking, I drove everyone out. No matter how hard my cousin knocked on the door outside, I remained indifferent. "Hurry up and go, only she is anxious, so I can take the initiative." Evan Hua was locked in the room by me, with a look of confusion on his face, but it also carried a hint of sweetness. "So is this popular?" After figuring things out, he suddenly smiled, sitting on the sofa like a boss. "Since you know, why don't you come over and admit your mistake? How dare you hit me? This is outrageous." I looked at him with a cold face. "Admit your mistake? Dream on. From the moment you made a mistake, it's over between us. I won't divorce just because I don't want to see you all doing well. Besides, the demolition compensation will be in soon. I only want the money, not the person. Go wherever you want to fool around. Just give me 10 or 80,000 a month. When the time comes, I'll find someone outside, and we'll each live our own lives. Let's just make do with it." I look utterly shameless, insisting on relying on him for money. Evan Hua really got angry. "Are you actually still trying to find someone else? The demolition funds have nothing to do with you. Hua, don't even think about it. As long as I am your spouse, I can spend your money, and I already paid you back 200,000 yuan before, so you can spend my money, and naturally I can spend yours." As expected, after losing face, nothing is a problem anymore. Evan Hua stared at my head as if I had carved his flesh. "The money hasn't arrived yet, and you're already starting to feel distressed. If it turns out that the demolition compensation is gone, won't I be furious on the spot? But I also don't dare to delay too long. Who knows when the demolition office will notify us to stop tearing down? At that time, Evan Hua will definitely hold on to me tightly and not let go." I plopped down on the sofa, pushed Evan Hua aside, started acting pitiful, with tears in my eyes, full of grievance. "Evan Hua, you bastard, I've been with you for so long, even helping you pay off debts. And you just so happen to treat me this way for my cousin. What's wrong with me? You'd rather spend money on her than on me. Am I really that unworthy?" Hearing me soften my attitude, Evan Hua's anger in his heart immediately eased quite a bit. He let out a sigh, wanting to speak, but I quickly interrupted and continued to act weak. "Evan Hua, who asked me to love you? I admit defeat. I can agree to divorce, as long as you return the money I lent you before." I smiled bitterly. "With this, it will be hard for me to love anyone else in the future. I just want to save some money and grow old alone. Hey, this is Hua Bai. As long as you don't cause trouble for me, we can part ways amicably. I can give you 500,000 yuan then, and you can live your own life. If you really miss me, I can allow you to visit me once a week." Evan Hua felt extremely happy, as if his love was a great blessing. I couldn't help but sneer inwardly, restraining the urge to hit someone. "I can't take it anymore. Seeing you fall in love with someone else, I wish I could just kill you both and be free. Now, give me 300,000 yuan, and let's get a divorce right now." I looked at Evan Hua with a face full of hatred. For those about to get rich, their life is incredibly precious at this moment. Evan Hua shrank back in fear. "But I don't have a single cent right now." Anyway, you and Guo Feifei are about to get married. Whether you pay or she pays, what's the difference? I said, a little jealous. Then I directly snatched Evan Hua's phone and called her. As soon as the call connected, Guo Feifei's pitiful voice came through. "A Cheng, I hurt so much. Hu Lin is too heavy-handed. You should quickly divorce her. I really can't stand her anymore." I directly interrupted. "Divorce, unless you give me 300,000. Don't even think about divorcing. Guo Feifei dared to cheat on me. Isn't it reasonable to ask for an extra 100,000 as compensation? If Evan Hua hadn't pinched every penny, how could I only ask for such a small amount? Guofeifei was surprised to see me nearby and was startled. She tried to hang up the phone but was stopped by Evan Hua. Feifei, she has already agreed to divorce. Just give her 300,000 yuan. I don't have the money right now, so you lend it to me first, and I will give you 1 million later. Guofeifei's breathing grew heavier, and her excited voice almost spilled out, but she didn't agree, instead adding a condition: I can lend you 300,000. But on the day you get divorced, we will register our marriage. Evan Hua hesitated. The reason he wants to divorce me is not just because I usually control him too much, it's also because he can't bear to see that money being spent by others. However, Guofeifei is at least a newcomer, reluctant to spend money on old acquaintances, but it's not impossible to spend on newcomers. Both remained silent for nearly a minute before Evan Hua agreed. Guofeifei said she would transfer the money in a few days, but I couldn't wait, so I immediately said, forget it, I should think about it carefully. Although I had already scheduled to get a divorce today, I still feel I was too impulsive. It's okay, take your time. After saying that, I hung up the phone first. In less than half an hour, Guofeifei had transferred the money to Evan Hua's account. Evan Hua transferred the money to me on the spot, and we immediately went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. After completing the divorce, Guofeifei, injured, registered the marriage with Evan Hua. Now that the money has been received and the trouble has been resolved, I feel extremely happy. The things in the house, you can move out today. Guofeifei only then realized that the house Evan Hua is living in now is mine. Now that they are married, they don't even have a home to go back to. However, Guofeifei quickly put on a smile. It's okay, Arching, let's just go on our honeymoon directly, since we'll have money soon. Evan Hua also felt a surge of joy. Being with me for so long, I always made him save money, and our life was incredibly monotonous. Now I definitely want to enjoy myself. Evan Hua looked uncomfortable. The demolition compensation hasn't arrived yet. How about we wait until it does, then go abroad to have fun? Guofeifei couldn't help but want to show off. Oh, it's okay, I'll treat you. When the time comes, just pay me back tenfold. 10 times. Evan Hua hesitated. If they spent 100,000, wouldn't he have to pay back 100,000? This is not a good idea. Guofeifei is really good at acting cute. Otherwise, Evan Hua wouldn't have married her. You'll have at least 25 million by then. Just consider that as my bride price. Okay, Tilda. She was swaying Evan Hua's arm, pressing her chest against it repeatedly. Finally, Evan Hua took a deep breath and took Guofeifei to a luxury hotel. When she was leaving, Guofeifei smugly raised an eyebrow at me. She has been comparing herself to me her whole life. When we were young, she compared the love of our parents to mine. We are all children who are not expected by our parents, but she is luckier than me. She doesn't like my mother, but she loves her very much. When we were young, I always let her have the good things. I could only study hard and beat her in terms of grades. As we grew up, she compared her salary with mine, and later, her boyfriend with mine. We have had our wins and losses, always in a delicate peace. The demolition of my husband's family has completely disrupted the balance between us. We are all from ordinary families, and we will never earn more than 10 million yuan in our lifetime. People like us also cannot come into contact with those worth over 10 million yuan. Her unbalanced mindset can only directly pick the fruit. In the next few days, the two of them started traveling around. Guofeifei also didn't care about the opinions of relatives and friends. Flaunting her marriage to Evan Hua on social media, the couple either spent the night in five-star hotels that cost thousands of dollars per night or sunbathed on private beaches. Every meal was a luxurious feast. I roughly calculated that in just a few days, I spent at least 100,000 yuan. Guofeifei even boasted on her moments that she would hold her wedding directly by the sea. To let more relatives and friends witness her happiness, she directly waved all their red envelopes. Many people liked her moments. Some fellow comrades who are not in the know came to ask me, is it really okay not to give a red envelope? My husband and children want to go to the beach for a trip. Can you help me ask her how many days of accommodation she's providing? I suddenly found it extremely funny. Guofeifei, for the sake of face, not only refuses to give red envelopes but also provides them with accommodation. If it weren't for the fact that plane tickets are really expensive, she would want to book tickets for everyone. After some thought, I decided to ask my friend personally. When she received my call, Guofefe was very happy. "Oh, you can still call me, so. Do you also want to come to my wedding? Since I'm your cousin, how about I book a presidential suite for you?" I chuckled softly and said, "I'm asking on behalf of my friends. When you say accommodation is included, how many days does it cover?" "Forget it, the person is right here, you can just tell her yourself." I directly handed the phone to my friend. Guofefe was about to curse, but she forcibly stopped herself. The wedding was basically finished in a day, usually with an overnight stay prepared, but this friend is famously a big mouth who also loves to take advantage of others. Guofefe is also quite proud, so she naturally finds it hard to refuse. In the end, Guofefe almost gritted her teeth and said it for 3 days. That friend was also like he had no sense of propriety, happily asking the other person to help book a parent-child suite. Hang up the phone. The friend looked at me and couldn't help but scold me. "Look at how impressive your cousin is. She found such a capable man, and our friends are also benefiting. Now you, getting married, still asking for gift money. You should learn from your cousin. Give me back the gift money I gave you before." People are really shameless, taking advantage of everything. I also gave her a gift when she got married, and now she actually has the nerve to come and ask for it. Of course I didn't give her any, and I told her. Feifei is now considered to be quite wealthy. You should promote her extravagance well among your friends. I only know a few of you. When the wedding is about to happen, I will give a speech on site to thank her, so everyone can see her generosity. Their wedding is scheduled for a week later. During this time, they have been very busy and haven't had time to deal with the demolition matters. If they had just made a phone call to ask, they would have known that the demolition work has already been completed. The wedding day, the circle of friends started to get lively. Many people, even some who are not familiar with Guofefe, posted photos of the wedding scene. Guofefe specifically sent me a makeup photo. "Do you know how much this makeup costs? 10,000 yuan. You only spent a little over 1,000 on your wedding makeup." Right, I didn't pay attention to her, but watched the livestream on Moments. A kind-hearted person started the livestream, sharing the wedding process throughout. The entire venue was truly romantic, all decorated with real flowers. I don't know how much this would cost. I, Evan Hua, got married in my hometown. The entire wedding cost less than 50,000 yuan. If Evan Hua really gets that demolition compensation, I think I would be insanely jealous. Luckily, I have no money. He doesn't have any either. My heart instantly balanced out. My cousin's friend and I also didn't disappoint, praising the bride's elegance at the wedding scene, and they were able to stay in the hotel for 3 nights. These words are spoken. The others on the scene immediately lost their temper. It's not fair. Why can they stay 3 nights, and I can only stay 1? The bride favors them over me. Is she looking down on me? Everyone then realized that many people could only stay 1 night. This wedding had already caused quite a bit of jealousy, and many people started to stir up trouble. The wedding was almost ruined by this group of people. In the end, Guofefe could only compromise, treating everyone equally, and everyone could stay for 3 nights. I checked their hotel charges. It's not a luxury hotel, but it still costs 300 yuan per night. After working for many years, I know Guofefe has saved up tens of thousands. This time, spending it all might not be enough. Definitely took out a loan. When Guofefe finds out that Evan Hua's hundreds of millions are gone, will she go crazy? After the wedding, I didn't pay attention to a few people anymore. After selling the house I had at a low price, I moved to a different city to live. Anyway, there's no one who loves me here, so it's the same wherever I live. I don't know when Evan Hua and Guofefe found out that the demolition money was gone. The next time I heard from them was 2 months later. When the police came to my door, I was at home eating barbecue. They were followed by 2 emaciated-looking people. One is Evan Hua, and the other is Guofefe. The 2 of them had heavy dark circles under their eyes and messy hair. As soon as she saw me, Guofefe rushed over to me like crazy, grabbing my collar. "Pay back the money. Give me my money." Her eyes were bloodshot. her face full of pain. The police quickly separated the people. Evanhua looked as if his soul had been drained. He was stunned for a long time before finally calling out to me when he saw me. "Wife, the demolition money, it's gone." I quickly stopped him. "I'm not your wife. We are already divorced. Your wife is her," Guafefe angrily shouted. "You liar. Did you know all along that the demolition compensation was gone? I'm telling you, this is a marriage scam. Hurry up and give me back my 300,000 yuan. The police officer also looked serious. "I didn't cheat her out of her money. The 300,000 yuan includes 200,000 I lent to Evanhua, who returned it to me during the divorce, and the remaining 100,000 is for his betrayal and mental damages." I directly told everything in detail, and also took out the divorce agreement and the divorce certificate. The police officer looked troubled after hearing the situation. "The money you lent out has nothing to do with her. You lent it to Evanhua, and Evanhua is the one who paid this lady back. If you need money, you should ask your husband." Guafefe covered her face and cried. "She did it on purpose. She said at the time that she would pay back the money before getting divorced. If it weren't for that, how could I have lent her money?" "The police don't want to talk anymore," Guafefe cried for a while, then took a deep breath. "Fine, I won't argue with you. I don't want the 300,000 anymore. Okay, I'll return your husband to you, but for everything else, you must compensate me." She took out her phone and started to tally up the bills. "I spent 100,000 on traveling, over 600,000 on the wedding. I don't want you to give me more, just give me back the 700,000. I can overlook everything else." The police frowned and looked at me. "Why did you spend so much money? Just pay it back quickly. Even if she later took your husband, you still need to pay for the trip and wedding expenses at the time. That's two different things." I looked at Guafefe as if I were looking at a fool. Why should I pay for the trip and wedding money with Evanhua? I'm just his ex-wife, not his mother. The police were also a bit confused. "Your meaning is that you want your husband's ex-wife to reimburse you for your trip with your husband?" Guafefe's face was grim. But she was clearly at the end of her rope, just wanting to get back the money she had spent. "She deceived me. That's why I married her husband. If it weren't to provoke her, why would I have spent so much money on a trip and a wedding? Shouldn't she pay for it?" The police are now also laughing in anger. She is already divorced. This is the most heartbreaking part for Guafefe. Guafefe only recently found out that Evanhua not only has no money, but also owes hundreds of thousands on credit cards. She also borrowed over 300,000 yuan from various sources in order to get married. Now, she is about to be driven crazy by the loans. She sat down on the ground and cried loudly. "Why doesn't she have to pay? I don't care. She's Evanhua's ex-wife. She should at least bear 1/3 of the money." Right, Guafefe was finally taken away by the psychiatric department. Everyone thinks she has a problem with her mind. "The money spent by me and my husband. We can't pay it back now, and we want to ask the ex-wife for help with sharing the burden." Completely crazy. Evanhua looked at me with a look of amazement and said, "Wife, shall we remarry? After going through so much, I realize that only you truly treat me well. Not letting me spend money recklessly is because you want us to live a good life. I was blind, greedy for pleasure, and that was my big mistake. Don't worry, once we remarry, I will go out and work hard. Working during the day, delivering takeout at night. Let's work together to pay off our debts as soon as possible, then have a child, and live a good life." I simply refused. But Evanhua's current state doesn't look quite right. The place we're renting has now been discovered by them. I need to leave quickly. I packed my things overnight and bought a ticket for the early morning the next day, but unexpectedly, when I opened the door, Evanhua, Guafefe, my parents, and my younger brother were standing neatly at the door. I didn't even know when they arrived. They just looked at me sinisterly and then forcibly pushed into my room. I quickly sent a message to the landlord, asking him to help report the case to the police. He lives just downstairs, and we agreed to meet at this time to exchange the keys. Guafefe sat next to my mom, and finally there was some color in her eyes. "Auntie, Guafefe sold the house. She must have a lot of money." My dad just silently lit a cigarette. We've all heard about it. Such a big thing as divorce. You didn't discuss it with the family. Nonsense. They attended Evan Hua and Gua Feifei's wedding. Do I need to say more? We don't agree with the divorce. Feifei is too young and naive. Let's just forget about this. I will let them divorce, and you and Evan remarry. My mom looked at me with a complainant expression. I don't know. How did they achieve harmony in just one night? But I know that the premise of all this must be that I sacrifice myself. I didn't speak, just silently waited, watching to see what disgusting words they would say next. But they just remained silent, as if the words they were about to say couldn't be spoken at all. In the end, it was still my mom who played the villain. We asked the developer, as long as the benefits are in place, the demolition can still happen. It's just, she paused, a hint of sarcasm on her face. You're lucky. One of the developers is your elementary school classmate. He has a crush on you. As long as you go and keep him company for a month, the house will still be demolished as usual. I only feel a chill down my back. My relatives, each one wishes they could tear me apart and suck my marrow. Why? I glare fiercely at a few people, feeling an infinite sense of grievance in my heart. I felt my phone in my pocket vibrate. It should be that the landlord saw the message. I just hope they won't do anything extreme before the police arrive. Gua Feifei couldn't take it anymore. She almost went crazy during this period. Why should it be? If it weren't for you, we could have had 25 million. We begged the developer for a month, and last night he finally relented, agreeing to compensate 3 million, all because of you. Evan Hua also couldn't help but agree. Yeah, if you hadn't stopped me at the time, I would have definitely agreed on the spot. If I had agreed then, I could have gotten 18 million. Thinking of this, a trace of resentment flashed in Evan Hua's eyes, but soon, he put on a gentle smile again. Before the demolition, Evan Hua owed some money, thinking that the demolition compensation would soon be received, nearly 20 million. I helped him cover over 20,000. He saw that I didn't speak, and the younger brother beside him became impatient. Stop joking around, just agree quickly. I'm still waiting to get hired, someone like you. Your brother-in-law will still be willing to marry you in the future, so just thank your lucky stars. So that's how it is. I finally understand why the whole family came over for this matter. My younger brother, after graduating from university, couldn't find a job and has been staying at home. Sacrifice one of me, and they will have money, a job, and the loan can also be solved. Truly a masterful plan. Don't dream anymore, go to a company your own. I won't go. After finishing speaking, I grabbed my suitcase and ran quickly to the entrance. Just as I was about to open the door, I was covered by a pair of hands over my mouth and nose. Within a few seconds, I completely lost consciousness. I only felt myself being carried and thrown into the trunk, and a tear couldn't help but fall from the corner of my eye. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. The landlord was standing by my side. Seeing me wake up, he kept sighing. You're really lucky. The sleeping pills they gave you were overdosed, and you almost didn't wake up. Your family is really, it's hard to explain in a few words. Turns out, when the landlord saw my message, he rushed over quickly. He saw me being carried onto a car by a crowd of people, and thought they were a group of vicious killers. Not daring to go out and stop them rashly, I could only secretly follow the car and wait for the police to arrive. Fortunately, in the end, everyone was caught. Because it was a kidnapping involving multiple people, the situation was serious, and they were sentenced to 15 years directly. When I heard this news, I finally let out a sigh of relief. 15 years. By the time they come out, I should have already run to a place where they can no longer find me. Let their whole family torment each other.